So what do we have here? We have the long-awaited Behringer BM-14M analog delay, which is a clone or a copy of the MoogerFooger MF-104M analog delay, but comes in at a fraction of the price. I think this one cost me £115 from Anderton's in the UK. If you look at used prices on the MoogerFooger, you're looking at over £1,000. I've seen them advertised for £2,000. So it'd be really interesting. I know a lot of people want to see this. So this is going to be a very quick first look, first listen to demo, see what you think about them side by side. I often get asked after I do these little demos, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you check this? Why didn't you check the other? So in the comments, tell me what you'd like to see in a much deeper dive comparison of the two of them. And they do have the same controls on them. What we've got across the top is the center, across the middle is the right, and across the bottom is the left-hand side of the MoogerFooger. So drive, output level and mix, drive, output level and mix, LFO shape, LFO rate and LFO amount, LFO shape, rate and amount, delay time, short and long, and feedback, delay time, short and long, and feedback. And when you're doing these demos, it always gets really confusing when you're going across with one and down with the other, so we'll see how we get on. Tap tempo and bypass, tap tempo and bypass, and time level and bypass LEDs. On the back, again, we've got exactly the same on the Behringer as on the Moog. We've got an audio in, a mix out, a delay out, so you can have that like a stereo out, and then inputs for the feedback, time, LFO rate, mix, the feedback, and insert, so you can take stuff from the audio out and bring it back in. And then we've got the LFO amount as well, 5-pin MIDI and the power. And if I just put them together actually and make it easier to see, we've got exactly the same on the Moog. Main difference here being the Behringer uses what we would call sort of standard for a pedal negative tip, whereas the Moog uses a positive tip. So the Behringer is more like a standard guitar pedal with a negative tip. But yeah, let's plug them in and have a listen. Here we are then, not an inconsiderable amount of hours later. I've spent the last couple of hours playing with it as much as I can and trying to look at all the functions that I really like on the MoogerFooger. So I've set them up so that they sound as similar as I can get them. I've got one in the left ear and one in the right ear at the minute, just so that you can hear, you know, if it sounds stereo, if it sounds split, you know, there's a difference. But they're not bad, are they then? That could be a single delay unit in stereo. But there are differences. I think I'm trying to work out what's actually happening, but the envelope on the release, or the envelope on the feedback, I should say, is slightly different on both of them. So when you've got the feedback to be identical, or the length of the feedback to be identical, the way it drops off is slightly different. I'm being really super picky here, by the way. But it sounds to me like the Behringer is a little bit brighter as it decays. So it sounds like it's loud. I've got it in the left speaker here. So it sounds like when you're playing around with it, actually the feedback on this is too long, because it feels like it's sitting there for longer. But actually you can hear it for longer, I think, because it's a bit brighter. And if you look at these plots, top one's the BM-14, bottom one's the 104M. They're about the same, but you can see there's slightly different things happening there. But the feedback, importantly, is about the same, isn't it? But it does sound to me like the Behringer hangs on for longer. And as I say, I do think that's because it's a little bit brighter. They sound nice together though, don't they? But while I've been playing with them, we've got the same functions on each of them. The bypass is a true bypass, for example. So let's have a listen to them independently. So you can't use the bypass because the signal just flows through them. So you've got to change the output level on them. So MoogerFooger. Now the Behringer. So I think you can hear it's almost a bit fizzy, a bit more sort of almost a bit more saturated. So I'll turn them down using this little gadget over here. That's turning the input level down, by the way. Then, oops, that's the wrong one, that's the drive. That would completely change it. Output up again. This is the MoogerFooger. Then back over to the Behringer. So maybe it's not brighter, maybe it's just that it's a bit more distorted or something in there. Let's then add a bit more feedback. So I might not keep the feedbacks identical because it's too hard to do that, but let's kick off with the MoogerFooger, shall we? So that's down, let's turn this up. And that's the beautiful smoothness I love on the 104. Let's try it on the Behringer. And again, just to remind you, this is the MoogerFooger. Didn't get that right, try that again. So they're definitely different, aren't they? So from a, does the Behringer sound like the MoogerFooger? No, it doesn't. I'm not being harsh, I don't think there. It doesn't sound the same as that to me. It's a bit like all the Behringer bits, the distortion or the saturation doesn't quite sound like the Moog, so trying to get past the distortion or the saturation, but we do have an overdrive on this, so let's turn the feedback down again. Let's turn the volume up, and let's turn this drive up, so let's just whack up about halfway. Turn the volume up on both of them. That's gorgeous, that, isn't it? So let's turn the volume a bit lower on them so we're not distorting into the interface. So they've both got a really nice sort of distortion sound, haven't they? Overdrive sound, I should say. This is the Behringer. So it's got its own character, I'd say. We'll turn that down, and then we turn up the MoogerFooger, got the drive up, a bit more feedback. Whoops. Sort of turning that sawtooth into a square, isn't it? Just turn the output down. And again on the Behringer. Oh, we can hear it there already. Again, it's making it into that sort of square type tone, isn't it? Turn the wrong thing there. But it's got a different character. It's different to this. Where are we? Gets really confusing doing this. You can hear, oh, they're nice together, aren't they? But different characters there. You know, they sound like they're the similar sort of pedal, but they don't sound like the same pedal. So I don't really want to dig too deep into all that. I just wanted to know, does it sound identical to the MoogerFooger? And the answer to that is no. Has it got similar functions and does it do similar things? Yes. So the similar functions and things that I really like on the MoogerFooger are the hidden functions that you get via MIDI. And this is a controller panel, and you can see all the different functions you've got via MIDI. You have the same functions on the Behringer. This is from the Behringer manual, and this is why I've got the launch control out as well. I haven't programmed all these in. I've just programmed in the ones that I like playing with the most. And that's these, the sort of time expander, as it were, goes to 8 times a time, and the bright or the dark. So on the Moog, we're in bright mode at the minute. Let's just listen to the Moog. Go to dark. Completely different tone, isn't it? So I really do like that dark mode. But going back to the bright. Definite difference. So set this up to do the same for the Behringer. So let's listen to the Behringer. Let's turn all that down. So that's the bright, I think. Let's put it onto dark. Yep. Bright. Dark. It's doing the same thing, which is pretty cool. And then the other one I really like is this. It's the time X times 10, whatever. It goes up to 8 times, and it really completely and utterly degrades the signal. And I love this. So let's do that on the MoogerFooger. It's 8 times as long, remember? Let's put it into bright mode. Oh, lovely and crispy that, isn't it? And then we can do that on the Behringer as well. So let's put the time to 8 times on the Behringer. There we go. Let's make it a bit quicker so we can hear what's happening a bit better. That's in bright mode, but it doesn't quite have the crispiness of the Behringer. That's the feedback, that's the delay. Do that one a bit quicker. So. That's like doing on this. Little glitchy things almost as you play around with it. Down to 4, 2, 1. Fabulous. I've not tried this on this yet, so let's do the same thing here. It's not quite as obvious when I change from the light to the dark. Let's see if on the bright, change the time. So you can still do all that stuff, but it doesn't sound the same. Still sounds cool though. And again, over on the Moog. Let's add a bit of feedback. Go a bit faster. It's bright. I could play with these for hours actually. This is really really good fun. So put the so there we go. Similar stuff over here. Mad crazy glitchiness. Dark. Bright. Dark. Bright. But they don't sound the same, doing similar things, as I say, but not identical. A nice little thing that you can do on the MoogerFooger is if we put the LFO onto a square, put the amount onto a round 8, and we get like almost like a sequencer from it. You'll see what I mean in a second. Nice. And that's just because we're modulating up and down an octave. If you tune it right. And then the Behringer can do exactly the same thing. Just little tricks I like on these. Just me tuning it badly. Let's put it onto full full mix. Things are going a bit out of time now. You can sync the LFOs up via MIDI. When I've done it via MIDI over the last couple of hours, I've been trying to use the metronome and I've been trying to use Logic, and I can't get them synced up identically. And I'm not sure if one's on dotted and one's on triplets, or if the, you know, just slightly out or something like that. So that's for a further investigation, I think. But I have been having to go with that to make things more even, as it were. I've just found this much easier to do it by hand. Speed of those LFOs as well. Let's have a quick listen. Sounds brighter on the Behringer for some reason. Let's change the amount. Again, an equal amount of craziness from both of them. Slightly different tuning, which means they're not identical again. And then if we go to, should we go to short and see what happens there? I've not tried this yet, so I'll put down on that one. I'll put level up, time. Trying to see how much sort of phasiness we can get, or flanginess. So do that over here, short, so it's really short. Fair amount of feedback, no LFO. Similar, not identical obviously. Almost like a room reverb, that, isn't it? Let's try that on this. Same sort of effect, not exactly the same sound. And again. So yeah, that's all I'm going to do for today. I think I've spent hours doing this. I know it's a really short video, but just making sure that was getting everything right, really, because you don't want to misrepresent anything when you're doing stuff like this. But I have found that the saturation, the distortion, and the feedback on the Behringer aren't identical to the MoogerFooger. Obviously, different circuits. The BBD chip that the MoogerFooger had, they said they couldn't make it again because they'd run out of those BBD chips. Maybe that's the reason for them sounding a bit different, and you're never going to get one that sounds identical to the MF-104M. And that's why you've got to pay £2,000 if you want one. But if you want something that's very close to it and no one else would probably ever know it wasn't the MoogerFooger, yeah, Behringer, £102 now in Thoman when they've got them in. This one's from Anderton's. I'm not sure if they've got any in still. It's from the sort of first batch that came over. Trick is, order them when you see they're coming out. I'm not getting any special privileges here. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon, do all those sort of things, because it really does help to support the channel. And I will see you next time, and thanks for staying to the very end.